Good morning, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's all good. Just gonna run through a few things. There's a few things that we were talking about yesterday that either came into fruition or are testing key levels now. Pound New Zealand, one of them. I'm stupidly caught in this at the moment. I set a sell stop overnight at 190. I'm thinking if we had triggered into that, then we would likely see 189.95. Figured if we got triggered into that, then we would probably see a push to the downside, momentum to continue into 189.20. That doesn't seem to have occurred. I've also had a sell limit in place at 90.40, so both of those positions have triggered at the moment. So we are currently, I'm just waiting to see on current price action as to whether or not the best course of action is to hold those open or to look to close those positions down. As far as things stand though, I'm happy to leave it. Just looks like we're in a period of consolidation. This was the breakout region, so coming back to retest that area made quite a lot of sense. So what happens in the next half an hour to an hour on Pound New Zealand will be very, very interesting. A pop back above 90.50 certainly indicates that it's time to jump out of this position and look towards those longs back up to 92. The pair in itself, obviously we saw such a large push up on Friday that needed to be corrected, and we've started to stall in price and price action as things stand at the minute, which isn't massively out of the ordinary, is kind of expected. We started to see the push back down. The positive, and the only real positive at the moment, is the fact that obviously we created this lower high and we've created the lower low. Now it just depends whether or not we're going to create that low here, have a higher low, which would then obviously indicate to us that we've got that potential for the push back to the upside. Again, we can see in the hourly time frame, by this consolidation period, we've seen this lower high. In comparison to these highs that I'm talking about, started to see that little swing down, see that swing down. Obviously here we've seen higher low, higher high, but we've broken clean through those lows. So it just remains then for us to see which of these options seems most logical. The push down from 190.40 or 190.50, this kind of region, definitely would give an indication that we're going to fire back down into 189.20 or around that level, 189.30, somewhere around there, to create a higher low. And either push back to the upside or obviously break through that and create fresh lows. I don't necessarily see that that's too much of an option. I think there's too much positivity surrounding the British economy at the moment, regarding obviously vaccine rollouts, etc. But I also think a lot of it hinges upon next week or the week after, the roadmap being laid out for seeing the UK come out of lockdown. So there's obviously a few options available regarding the pair at the moment. All are very likely scenarios. I mean, obviously we're seeing quite a large push down on the pair at the moment, um, away from that um, previous support region that we're now looking to act as resistance. Whether that's sustainable, I'm not sure. Judging by initial price action, I would say probably not, but we shall wait it out. I think the real test would be if it pops back below 20. If it can get back below 20, then obviously it's a huge bonus and a huge positive for the pair. On that note as well, pound yen. Again, it's just been sat in consolidation. It doesn't have quite the same directional bias that like pound New Zealand is showing. However, what it does give us is clear indication that we're just in a consolidating market with the pair. It's going to take us a little while to see some form of actual movement and an actual breakout situation. I'm not completely sold on the fact of coming back to 143.80, just because there's a few little factors that are kind of swaying my decision when it comes to that. Firstly, the yen isn't very strong at all. It hasn't seen the strength come into it this week that was possibly expecting. That said, obviously, there has been bank holidays throughout kind of Asia, so those things do also play a factor. Those things do come into play when we're looking at potential situations like this. So we do need to be mindful of them and the potentials that come with bank holidays and low liquidity, certainly for those currencies also. So we shall see how we play out. I think we still need to get below 44 or 44.20 to really have a huge amount of confidence in the pair coming back down to find that level. The 4 hours just shows really that we've got this consolidation region and this area at 44.40. That's acting kind of as support at a minute, and obviously highlights the need to get back below 44 or 44.10. Again, we saw quite a push up, but this move has been very sustained. It's in a sustainable manner. It's not just impulse moves, bar obviously Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, should I say. Apart from that, it's all relatively sustainable. We're seeing these swings, we're seeing these pullbacks, retests, go again. Everything that you'd want to be seeing with the just a trending market. So to see that trend change, it would make a lot of sense to see a higher low come into play at 44, 44.10, somewhere around there, before seeing that push back up. If we do reject from 44, then that would obviously be probably one of the preferred protocols and one of the preferred options to look to take, and take that long back up, or obviously the short back below. It really depends. We will just have to wait it out. These first initial impulse moves that we're starting to see are with obviously fresh liquidity coming into the market, so we'll see how things settle there. Euro yen. Obviously, we were talking yesterday about that position away from 127. Obviously, we've seen that rejection away, and we're still firmly making our way down towards 126.50. We shall see how we progress with that. Again, we're starting to see some sustainable swings come in. We're seeing these pushes down, we're retesting, seeing a new swing form, coming and retesting that level of previous support. Turn of resistance that we've seen through here at 127, at 126.70, 126.65, that kind of area. So it's going to be a bit of a slow burner, should we say, with this pair, I think, at the moment. Just seeing how things progress with it. As always, we are waiting for that drop below 26.50. I think when that comes, we're going to end up back inside this little range that we were in before. If we retest this 40 level, or we receive solid rejection away from 50 and head back towards kind of 75, then it is probably time to get out of that position altogether. Seeing sharp movement on that pound New Zealand and pound yen for that matter. So yeah, we are just going to have to wait and see what happens. The rejections away are quite positive. We're rejecting away from that support level, so the fact that we're just going to enter a little bit of consolidation around here is probably quite likely. That or we close firmly back above 75 and we've got a fake out situation. We'll take the longs back up. So we will wait and see. This just keeps going, doesn't it? We'll keep an eye on it over the next half an hour. US dollar CAD. We'd seen that sustained little push back down. We'd seen yesterday, obviously, that retest that we so desperately wanted of 127.80. We were talking about it yesterday morning as we come into this area. Push away, came to the downside. Great chance to enter at 27.50 if you didn't enter before. Have seen that sustainably push back down. We're starting to see a drive back up. I would imagine that drive comes back into 27.40, 27.45, somewhere around there before potentially looking at further downside. 127, as always, is going to be the key level for us here. And will hold the keys and answers to a lot of where price may be heading next. Also, we're starting to see that the gold is starting to break back above. We saw that drive into 18.30 that we were talking about yesterday. And we're starting to see price push on there. So hopefully we see a bit of strength come into the CAD, the dollar to weaken off. If the dollar weakens off, then we could potentially see the yen strengthen up a little bit. And obviously that will play in nicely for some of our positions also. So all of these things, they're going to kind of correlate. We just need to see what's what as the day progresses. But yeah, CAD dollar, if we break back above 27.60, then it's probably time to call that pair a day. It's clear that we're not going to get any real momentum push. However, obviously, if we do get below 127.10, 127, then, as I say, we will still hold strong with our 124.50 target. It's obviously been quite a slow burner, this pair. Been a little bit difficult to just sit on the sidelines waiting for it. But we're seeing some sustained move coming down now, so it's probably just a case of having to sit tight, hold the nerve, and just ride the wave. Euro CAD, not really a lot going on with the pair. I kind of expecting and anticipating that push yesterday down into 153.20, and that hasn't come. We're obviously trading back up at 70, around 80 at the moment, so we've not seen the momentum and the drive and the push that we were quite expecting to see. However, we are still just caught in this range-bound activity. If we just we can see the range that we're trapped in. We can see that between these two regions that we've got this little mini trading area. So it's that area that we need to get through and get past in order to see that push further. Whether or not we're going to see it, I'm not entirely sure. The euro seems to have found a little bit of strength this morning. Obviously, euro yen, euro CAD, euro Oz. But we will. It's just a case that we're going to have to wait and see what happens there, whether or not we're going to get the potential to see those situations come back and pull back. We're starting to see, obviously, the dollar weaken off, so dollar CAD gaining that strength, but we're not seeing the same situation in the euro CAD position. Out, if we break back above 53 at 85, that kind of level, or 80 or 53.90 back towards 54, it's probably time to get out of that position. With any luck, we just reject away, give ourselves an entry at 53.50 and be able to take the short, but we shall see. Euro Oz, I have a sell limit in place. At the 70 level, so we're not a million miles away from that trigger. Just because obviously we've seen a sustained impulse move to the downside, so that retest and push back into that 70 level, 80 level was highly likely. To see a breakout of a support region like that and not come back to retest it, obviously gives ourselves an indication that that will happen. As with most breakout situations, you get the first initial move, and it might take an hour, 30 minutes, it might take a week. Eventually, you're going to come back to that region, retest that area before finding the next leg of direction, whether that's to the downside or the upside on the pair, to be massively mindful of. If you just bear with me, I just need to check. I'm just going to move my pound New Zealand sell stop to break even. What trades that? Pound yen has also triggered. I had a sell stop in place at 30. Obviously, that's been spiked into and pushed to the upside, so it's not ideal. Would like to see some better price action than that. We shall wait and see. Looking at there. So yeah, have a sell limit in place at 56.70, just to catch the drive away from this if we were to reject away from that potential support region. There's obviously a lot of variables that come into play with a move like that and a situation like that, so we will have to sit tight and wait and see what happens with it. But for the time being, I'm relatively comfortable with the way that price is looking on the pair. I'm not too bothered until we were to break. I'll get there in the end. Like you say, you can see on the 4 hours the need to come back into this region. So all of this price is perfectly understandable. But until we get back above and we either hit that 56.70 region and sell off, back above 57, then obviously I'll start to get a little bit nervous, probably close that position down. It currently has a 40 pip stop loss on it as a pending order, but we'll revisit that as and when, if we need to. So yeah, and then back below 56, obviously opens the floodgates for that push down into 55. We were highlighting yesterday, so I think the sell limit away from the 70 level is currently the route that I want to go down when it comes to Euro Oz. Euro CAD, we're starting to see some minor rejection, but we shall have to keep an eye on it. Pound New Zealand, we've already gone through. We're seeing that support at 90.05 hold. Don't particularly want to give too much back on that, given the fact that I also have the sell stop from 90 that triggered. Sorry, I'm just having a little think on the go whether or not to close the sell stop for the loss and hold. We'll leave it for now. We'll see what happens. Gold, as we were saying, sorry, that push, we saw that push yesterday. Yesterday morning, we were talking obviously about the need to either get back below here and take the short, whether or not we would actually have the risk to reward to take that, or we would need to wait for 118 to go, or obviously take the long back into 118.30. Obviously, we saw that, and then we've seen that swing back and the push further to the upside. So there was a fair few pips on offer for anyone who did take that position yesterday, or who was looking at that position. We've also then now seen obviously quite a large rejection. We're going to get that engulfing close, I would imagine, which would probably see us continue that drive up to 118.63 today. We can obviously see already the need to get a back above here. We can actually pull that through. You can see the support that we've had. Rejection away. Realistically, I think we're looking at a break above the highs should almost certainly see us come into the 55 and then 18.63 from there. So we shall see how that plays out. I probably won't take a gold position for all the time that I'm still sat in these trades. For now, I'm probably just going to let that be. Rejections there, which is nice. So for now, I'll probably leave gold be. It's not a position that I feel like I've got the risk at the moment to be able to take, being involved in obviously two positions on pound New Zealand, a position on pound yen. So I don't want to be involved in anything else until we start to see things settle or start to put a decent amount of profit on the table. So that's about as far as I wanted to run back through this morning, just to run through what potentials we have for the pair. Pound New Zealand now, obviously, if we get back below 90, we should see that drop off. It does make me nervous when you see large moves like this occur because, simply put, they can often just be a kind of red herring. See price push back almost immediately back to the upside with situations like this when they occur. So it can be a nervous obviously it can also be we just see price absolutely plummet from there, but I think we shall hold it regardless. The position from 40 is risk free, 30 pips up in that, so that's always a bonus, and then we go from there. But I hope everyone has a decent day, whatever it is you're up to, whatever you're doing. Be sensible. There's not really too much in the way of fundamentals. I believe the most is the New Zealand data that came out overnight. That said, I'm pretty sure we've got speeches at some point. Do we have speeches today? I'm pretty sure there's a Euro speech that is due. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone has a decent day.